Hello everybody, it's Ronnie with Whip and Chain. I work with Maggie and Lauren to bring you crochet tutorials. Today we got a cute one. It is a cherry pie coaster. It's fun, it's easy, it works up pretty spanking fast. It's 2 layers and it is made out of cotton yarn, and we're going to dive into this. Notice they're not even. That's actually a little bit, kind of, sort of, on purpose, because lattice work on pies is never even, but it's always beautiful. So we're going to dive into this. Let's talk about what we need. You're going to need a 4mm crochet hook. You're going to need a pair of scissors. You're going to need stitch markers. You need a darning needle and cotton yarn. You're going to need whatever color you want for crust. I use this beautiful loops and threads. It's called Twine. The color is called Twine, if I can find it for you. Twine. And then I also use loops and threads, and this color is actually called Tomato. But you can make your filling any color. You can make it blueberry, you can make it peach, you can make it pumpkin, you can make it berry, strawberry, apple, whatever color you want. And that's the whole point of these coasters. It can be the color of the rainbow of your fruits that you choose to bake. Even rhubarb. Ooh, that actually sounds kind of cool. So let's dive into this. Here we go. All right, let's dive into making this cherry pie coaster. So we are going to be using a 4mm crochet hook. Obviously my clover hooks. You guys know me by now that every time I try to use something different, I'm just not happy with it. So I would suggest a stitch marker. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, we need to make 2 of these. This is the bottom part of the coaster. It is 100% cotton yarn. You need 100% cotton yarn. Acrylic and other matters can melt, they could hurt, they could burn, and some could even catch on fire. Just when you're using anything, making anything for the kitchen, just use 100% cotton. It's your safest bet. And coasters will collect the moisture from your cup. So again, I do not recommend ever using anything but cotton for kitchen stuff. So, all right, so we're gonna make 2 of these, but the one I'm gonna do with you is going to have the cherry pie filling. So it's gonna be red, and then I'm gonna switch to this beautiful twine color that I got, loops and threads, this beautiful color. Absolutely, I don't even think the video does it justice. But when we're doing the top part of this, we're going to switch the edging to the brown or the twine. So when you make the bottom one, you just do it all in your brown color. I chose a lighter brown. I like crust being lighter. If you like your crust to be a little darker or a different shade, by all means, you don't have to do cherry. You can do blueberry. You can do strawberry. You can do berries, you can do pumpkin, you can do peach, you can do apple, you can like granny apple. You can do any color you want. You're not limited to colors. You can make this any way you want. So again, 2 of these. When I do the top one, you just stick with the same color for the bottom. All right. And the colors I've used this is called Twine. And the red loops and threads that I'm using, it's actually called Tomato. I like that name. That's kind of cool, isn't it? Yeah, really cool. Anyway, I'm trying to make sure I'm staying centered with you guys, because lately I have been finding myself going off center, and that's bothering me a lot. So anyway, and you will need a darning needle. So magic ring. And chain 1. If you cannot do a magic ring, please just do a chain 3 and slip stitch to your first chain, and then chain 1, and then you're exactly where we're at. In your magic ring, I want you to put in 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I'm going to pull this closed, but not completely tight, just so I can still see my stitches. So 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches is slip stitch to your first stitch. make sure you grab the whole stitch. All right. Chain 1. Yes, no, working in the rounds on this project does not work. So in your first stitch that you just slip stitched into, put in 2 single crochets. All right, that's people outside, cars, and all the people getting ready to go to work. So if you hear some stuff, I apologize. And I am going to mark my first stitch, because that just makes it easy for me to distinguish where I'm at. If anybody has watched enough of my videos, you know that's just, I don't have to worry about it. So you're going to put in 2 single crochets in every stitch and then slip stitch to your first stitch, and I will be right back. Okay, you should have 12 stitches, and I slip stitched to my first stitch. So our next round, which would be round 3, chain 1 and put in 1 single crochet in your first stitch, and then 2 single crochets in the next, and you're going to rotate that, so it's 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet. This is a normal way to increase. Okay, so we're going to just keep doing that. 1 single crochet, then an increase, 1 single crochet, then an increase all the way around, slip stitch, and then you'll be at 18 stitches. Okay, we're at 18 stitches, guys. You're doing wonderful. All right, we're on row 4, and it's obviously another increase. So you're going to chain 1, and I'm going to do the staggered increasing to keep it round, because that's exactly what we want to do. So this would be normally 2 single crochets and an increase, 2 single crochets and an increase, and all the way around. But here's how we're going to do it. It's the same, but it's just split up. So in your first stitch, and I do have a video on that if you ever want to go look. First stitch, put in 1 single crochet. Your next stitch, put in 2 single crochets, which would be your increase. And then your last stitch, put in 1 single crochet. So you are still doing the same increase, it's just split up better. You're going to repeat that pattern, and I want to make sure you understand it. So it's 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet. So let's do it again. 1 single increase, no, 1 single crochet. Now an increase, 1 and 2. And then their last stitch is 1 single crochet. Let's repeat that one more time because I want to make sure you understand it. 1 single crochet. You do your increase. And then 1 single crochet. All right, finish that around and I'll meet you back. Okay, you should be at 24 single crochets, and then you just slip stitch to your first stitch. Right, chain 1. Now this is just a normal increase because it's an odd number. You're going to single crochet 3, 1, 2, and 3. And do an increase. So it's 3 single crochet and increase all the way around. That will take you to 30 stitches. Okay. You just finished round 4 and you should be at, or round 5. Hold on, let me check. Yep, round 5. You should be at 30 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 30. Yep, that's my dogs playing with their toys in the background. I apologize for the squeaky squeaky. Okay, so 30 stitches. So now we're going to be on round 6. We're going to be on round 6. So chain 1, and we're going to do the staggered increasing now that we're on an even increase. So it's going to be, make sure, it's going to be 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, and then you do an increase, and then you do 2 single crochets again. And I need to get my stitch marker in before I lose my place. So 2, 2, and 2. There's my beginning. And you just follow that same pattern again. So it's 2 single crochets, and then you do an increase, and then you do 2 single crochets. All right, and then you start over again. 2 single crochets, increase, 2 single crochets, increase. That will take you to 36 stitches, and I'll meet you back. Okay, now you're at 36 stitches. Now it's an odd increase, so it's a normal increase. So you chain 1, and then you put in 5 single crochets in your first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you do an increase. So it's 5 single crochets and an increase, 5 single crochets, an increase, and that will take you to 42 stitches, and we'll be back. Okay, so you just finished the increase of 5 single crochets and an increase, 5 single crochets and an increase. That'll take you to 42 stitches. Okay, so now you want to cut off. I did not slip stitch yet, as you can see. You cut off the color that you chose, and then you put on the tan color, the brown color for the crust that you have also chosen. So the reason we did not slip stitch yet is you take your stitch marker out, slip stitch in, and you slip stitch with your new color. That way it gives you a complete clean transition. It's not really required on this pattern, but it's a really good practice to get into. All right, so now we're going to do one more increase, but it's in the tan. So you're going to put in, we're going to do the staggered. You're going to put in 3 single crochets, 1 in the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. And before anything, I'm just going to put in my stitch marker. Put in the 3 single crochets, and now I'm going to do an increase. Staggered increasing really works when you're trying to get a very round project. So then after you did your increase, you're going to do 3 more single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then you repeat that pattern. So you do 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and 3. And you do an increase. And then 3 single crochets. Just repeat that all the way around, and that will take you to 48 stitches, and we'll be back. Okay, so now you're at 48 stitches. If it's rolling just a tiny bit, don't worry about it, it's all good. So I want you to now slip stitch. Don't chain one, just slip stitch to your first stitch. All right, so you skip the next stitch. In the next stitch, I want you to put in 5 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip your next stitch and slip stitch into the next. All right, so you slip stitch that, so we skip the next one and put in again 5 half doubles. Did I do that right? Skip, yep, 5 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip the next stitch, slip stitch in the next. Skip the next stitch, put in 5 half doubles, and that's what you're going to do all the way around. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip the next stitch, slip stitch. Skip the next stitch, 5 half doubles. Do that all the way around. Okay, for came around, you should have 12 of these beautiful little scallops. Okay. And then if your counts were right, when you skip one, you slip stitch into your original slip stitch. All right. Now, pull out a really long tail for sewing these together, because we're on a single crochet around after we do the last part. All right, so let me pull my tail all the way through. Okay, now we're going to make the lattice work on this. This is just surface crocheting, and I also have a video on that. So just pick a point on where you want to do it. We're going to try to form a line straight down, and these are like pies. Are pies lattice work perfect? No. So do the best that you can, and that's all you can do. So I'm going to pick, make sure you're on the front of the pie. That is the back of the pie. I guess I'll just pick a point right near where, so I'm going to bring up my chain. Make sure you know you're working with your working yarn and not your tail, because I'm very guilty of that. So you're just going to surface crochet straight down, as straight as you can, but like I said, these are pies. They are not perfect. Trying to figure out how I want to hold it while I do it. And then you go into your next available stitch. Push through. It's okay. Grab your yarn, bring it up. Make sure you're not splitting. And I was splitting yarn. I didn't want to do that. I'll go, how about right there? Bring it up and do that. And just slip stitch. You're not doing single crochets. So we'll go in the next one. Go through. And like I said, we're gonna just slip stitch. And this is just, you're doing the lattice work. And I'm gonna go through the center if it'll let me, or did I make my center too tight? I made my center too tight, so I'll just go in the next. See, you just go with it. And I'm just trying to do a straight line across. And then what I do is I leave a tail because we definitely need to weave these in nice and secure. Okay. So now we want to do another one down this way. Sorry for my arm reach. Make sure there's no knot in my yarn. So let's do another one down. Make sure you're working with your working yarn. And then just go down. And just keep doing it. Now, you know how lattice work goes, weaves in and out? You can choose to go over top of this one or underneath. I'm going to show you how to go pull up. You know, let me do one more. I thought somebody was coming in. I'm going to do one more. See if I can. All right, now if I choose to go above, you just work over top. But if you choose to go underneath, you let go of your hook, you come in where you want to come in next, and you just go under. Doing videos with dogs sometimes is not the easiest. Anyway, so you just go under and you just pull it. See? That's it. Hold on. Be right back. I have too many yarns that I'm losing my track of my yarn is what's going on with me. So I'm going to go up underneath here. And I go underneath. Grab the yarn. And pull it through. And I am making this so much more harder than what I need to. There we go. Alright, so I pulled it through, put it back completely on my hook. And then just continue. Sometimes having a ton of yarn tails is not in your favor. So after I do this section, I'm going to do some weaving in and getting rid of some tails because it's really thrown me off. But so now what you did is you weaved it underneath. So some of them will be on top, some of them will be on the bottom, whatever you prefer. Everything is just taking your time and doing the process. So, see all these yarn tails? That's why I'm getting all flustered. So I'm going to do another one down, and maybe 2 more. And they don't have to be on point, like I said. They don't have to be perfect, because apple pies, cherry pies, pumpkin pies, peach pie, lattice work is never perfect. So I'm going to finish all this, and I'm going to come back and I'll show you everything. Oh, we have to join it. Okay, here is my pie top. Now, like I said, lattice work, not supposed to be even, because it's just not. And the back is a hot mess with my weaving and my knotting, so it is what it is. Anyway, so we got our tail. We're going to take both bad ends, and I left the tails there too. Doesn't hurt anything. You can cut them off if you want. You can leave them on if you want. So you're going to just match them. You're going to match them. And you're going to go into the same stitch on both of them where you ended. Let go. You're going to bring up, and you're done a single crochet, chain one, and then you're done a single crochet, just going through both pieces all the way around, and make sure you're doing this on the front, okay? Because if you do it on the back, your edging is not going to show very well. So you're just in a single crochet. All the way around. To finish up this cute little, mine's a cherry pie. And that was the whole reason we left a very long tail. And the whole reason you don't have to weave in neat and everything else, because it's in the center. And it can be extra cushion for if you have a drink that's a little sweaty on the outside, or, you know, anything like that. So like I said, you're just in a single crochet all the way around. Okay, look at this cute little thing. And with the tails in there, it gives it a little puff to it. I love it. And I did not leave myself a long enough tail. I had to add the yarn on. Shame on me. So I crocheted my last one. So you don't want to end this project with a noticeable end. You really don't. So just do a clean end. We go through our first stitch, and then we go down our last stitch, and then you can't tell where you started and where you ended. Isn't this adorable? And I can't wait to see all the different flavors that you guys are going to make these in. And like I said, the lattice work, it doesn't, and it being perfect actually isn't what pies are. Pies are not perfect. Pies are wavy and darker and lighter in different spots, and that's just how pies work. So that's okay. And there she is. Isn't it adorable? Perfect. I finished my coffee this morning, but perfect for your coaster because it has a little puff to it because I did not cut off all my ends. Works out absolutely beautiful. Well, thank you for watching. I'm Ronnie. I work with Maggie and Lauren to bring you these adorable little crochet tutorials. It is holiday season. I am ramping up on all different holiday projects. This is another, I would consider this like a fall Thanksgiving one. I'm probably going to do 1 or 2 more, and then I am going to dive into Christmas. I am going to be crazy diving into Christmas. Can't wait. So here it is, here at Whip and Chain. It's always a work in progress. And if you could help us, please hit that subscribe button. It helps us tremendously to be able to keep bringing you these crochet tutorials. They're always free for you, and we appreciate that. And then come join us on Facebook under Whip and Chain. We would love you to follow us and show us your beautiful projects. Until next time, happy crocheting. Bye, everybody.